Swans at the moment? You seem like you're just really well equipped in every single line at the moment, and you've got the perfect blend heading into the finals. Is that an accurate assessment of where you're at right now? How confident do you feel about everything?
No, nothing's ever perfect in the footy world, and we're having our meeting today and going through some of the areas. We felt like last week's game was a very consistent effort-rated game as far as what we really value, and we did that quite well. But there's always areas to improve, and we'll be looking at that and looking at what St Kilda do this week. I mean, that's going to be the forefront of our mind.
Things change very quickly, obviously, in footy, but line-up-wise, positionally, everything does seem like it's in a really nice spot there at Sydney. Is that a fair assessment?
For the last few weeks, it's been okay, but we as you mentioned, we know that the game does change very quickly, and it is such a tough game. So we're very mindful of that. VFL boys played on the weekend and had a win that went right down to the wire. So it was a really tight game for them. But it's important that our whole squad's playing well and up and about at this time of the year. It's obviously important that across our club that everyone's contributing and playing an important role for us.
John, how settled are you though? Just expanding on that lineup question, would you like to now stick with this team, everything going well?
I think there's always areas you need to look at. I mean, it's always a balance. It's not about making 8 or 9 changes, but it's always a balance of making sure if we need to tweak things that we've got the players to be able to come in and do that. And so we're still relevant to what we do with the opposition every week as well, see what their strengths are, and we'll be doing the same with the Saints this week and looking at what they do. It's just something that we get into you need to get into a bit of a rhythm and planning wise, and then looking at the opposition and then making the changes that you think that the team needs. And so we're still open to that as this week progresses.
A game to go, obviously, before finals, and I know you don't like to talk too much about previous seasons, but you feel like, just from the outside, you're going into finals in a lot stronger position than 12 months ago. Do you agree with that?
I guess from my perspective, it's really important we finish the season off. I know that everyone wants to talk about finals, but the fact is we've got this week and we need to play well against St Kilda, and that's at the forefront of our minds because it has to be. It's an important game. We go down and play them on their home deck. They've got a couple of days extra rest on us, and they've played last week and had the same scoring shots as the top 4 teams. So we're looking at that, and there'll be time afterwards, after Sunday's game, to sit back and refocus. But at the present time, it's about the Saints, and that's what we need to concentrate on.
Top 2 and home finals all the way through to the grand final would be pretty handy though, John.
Well, it's not something, once again, that we talk about internally because it's just not part of our preparation. It's not really something that we focus on at all. We tend to sort of look at what's very much in front of us, and I mean, we don't have to explain it. I think everyone knows. So it's more of a focus on the Saints this week and what they do well. Their pressure was great last week, and we'll be looking at that and making sure that we finish off the season on a really strong note.
John, with Josh Kennedy, is the plan still for him to play finals? And at what stage do you think he might return, if at all?
Oh, I'm not sure yet. He's still a few weeks away. So he's not even in the training stage or running stage just yet. So he's still a couple of weeks away from that. So as he said last week, it's going to be a bit of a long shot for him, but that doesn't mean it's completely put to bed. So he'll do everything he needs to do in a rehab sense. He's around the club all the time in a preparation sense anyway. So he's fully engaged, and we'll see how the hamstring goes.
John, if there was maybe one little question mark on the Swans a few weeks ago, was potentially the ruck, only because you'd struggled to get continuity in there with players coming in and out, Laddams and Hickey most notably. Has that changed in the last couple of weeks with Tom performing really strongly over the last fortnight? Has that given you a boost in that area as well?
Yeah, it's a good point. We did have the players coming in and out for various reasons, suspensions and injuries in the ruck situation with Tom and Peter. So we did have some uncertainty there for a few weeks. And the good thing about the last few weeks is we've been able to get some training into Hick in particular. Obviously, Peter's broke his thumb and missed 3 weeks, and he's been able to get back into a training routine and has played the last 2 games. He was very good on the weekend for us. So that's an important step, to be able to have both our rucks back training now and hopefully reaching form at the back end of the season. And Hick was good on the weekend, but Pete was terrific in the reserves as well. So it's important for us to be able to have 2 players that we can go to if needed.
Is Pete Adams putting a fair bit of pressure on maybe someone like Logan McDonald with Sam Reid then playing more as a stationary forward? Is that something you're looking at, bringing Adams back in before the finals?
Yeah, we haven't ruled anything out just yet. It's something that's an option for us to look at. Whether we go that way, we're not sure. We feel that Pete's been able to play a few different roles. Logan's still learning the game. Was really sound and strong defensively on the weekend, and that's an important part of our game as well. We've also got Joel Armity and Hayden McLean there as well that have been going along quite well. So we're mindful that we need those guys and we'll need them in good form. And when they get the opportunity, if they get the opportunity, they just got to grab it.
John, can I just ask about Jack Ginnivan was booed by the Sydney fans. I don't know if they are members at all, but I guess it's your home ground. Do you have a message for, I guess, the fans that attended the game on Sunday that were, I guess, booing an injured player on the bench?
It's not so much just a message for our fans. I think just across the competition, it's important that we respect all players. And I personally have never gone to the footy and thought about booing. It's just not something that's crossed my radar. Hopefully, you can go to the game and enjoy it for what it is—a great contest. And I think that's what we should be mindful, not just our fans, but fans right across the competition.
Do you think fans are aware of, I guess, a player and their personal sort of mental health issues that they might be going on, or do you think that fans just try and go and enjoy the game for the match day experience and get caught up in the hype of it all?
I don't know. I mean, you have to ask the fans. I guess I don't want to speak on behalf of the fans. I just think it's mindful to be, the respecting all players that go out there and put their best foot forward every week. It's not an easy thing to do. Put yourself out there and play every week on the biggest stage, and just be mindful of that right across the competition.
John, there's obviously naturally a lot of focus on the Buddies, the Heenies, the Mills, these sorts of guys, but how important to the team's success in the past couple of months has it been bringing in Robbie Fox, Ryan Clark, these sort of guys to play their roles?
Yeah, we talk about playing our roles all the time, and those guys have been very important role players. But whether it's Isaac, and it plays an important role for us as well. And at different times, Lance has got to play an important role. That's not just about goal kicking; it's other things. And so all of our players at different times have a role to play, whether they're some of our best players or not. They just have a role to play at different times during the course of the games. And those ones you mentioned, Will Hayward's another one that's been really important for us, and some of the work that those guys do that probably the supporters don't see, but we see internally are critical to us being a good team, and they certainly get rewarded internally for it.
Couple more, please, guys. Training's already started.
John, it was a pretty tumultuous day for Ben Rutten yesterday, and it may still be that way this week. Just wondering, I mean, the reports said he'd been sacked in the morning, and then the club had to say he was still their coach in the afternoon. As a long-term coach, how much sympathy did you have for him going through a day like that and potentially a week like that?
Look, it's tough, I think, on anyone that's involved and understand some of the pressures, not only for yourself but for your families. The last couple of years have been really tough for footy departments, not just coaches, but right across the football departments over the last 2 years. And so it's been a real stressful environment for different people over that time, as it has been outside of football departments as well. So feel for Ben. Obviously, the speculation. I've got no idea what's going on. I'll leave that to the Essendon Footy Club, but it's certainly not an easy thing to be going through with all the focus.
John, just before we let you go, can you just give us a few thoughts on the Saints? They're obviously fighting for their season potentially to still make that 8th spot. What have you made of their form in recent weeks?
They've played a couple of really good teams, top 4 teams over the last couple of weeks, and last week had the same scoring shots as a top 4 team, and had 70 odd tackles, had some opportunities to win the game. So we're seeing that with the Saints. We know what their best can bring, and we always prepare for the opposition's best. And the opposition's best this week with the Saints is they're very strong defensively, and they've got they work really hard without the ball, and they've got some real threats in their forward half. So we're mindful of making sure we prepare for the Saints' best this week, and make sure that that's at the forefront of our mind, and prepare ourselves like we do for every other game in the most professional manner that we can, and focus on what the opposition do, but also make sure that we do what we do, and concentrate on that as well.